The old ship Persistence shook as it moved through space. Its metal walls rattled with each burst from the engines. Captain Jack gripped his seat as the ship jumped to a higher speed. "Status report," Jack called out, his voice steady despite the trembling floor beneath his boots. "All systems normal, Captain," Lisa replied from her communication station. Her fingers danced across the glowing screen. "But normal for this old ship isn't saying much." Jack smiled. The Persistence was over 20 years old, ancient for a space freighter. But she was reliable, and that mattered more than being new and shiny. "Nav check," Jack asked, turning to his right. Tom, the ship's navigator, nodded without looking up from his screens. "We're on course to reach Colony Delta in 3 days. We'll need to pass through Sector 87 first." He paused, his forehead wrinkling. "That's close to Dravian space." The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew about the Dravians, tall, gray-skinned aliens with technology far more advanced than human ships. They mostly ignored humans, seeing them as primitive newcomers to space travel. But sometimes, Dravian ships would stop human vessels just to remind them who was stronger. "We'll be fine," Jack said firmly. "We're carrying medical supplies, not weapons. Even Dravians respect medical shipments." Mike, the security officer, snorted from his station near the back of the bridge. "Respect. Those four-eyed snobs don't respect anything about humans. They think we're dirt that learned how to walk." "That's enough, Mike," Jack said. "Let's just do our job and get these supplies to the colony." The next 12 hours passed quietly. The crew took turns resting while the Persistence pushed forward through the darkness of space. In the engine room, Kate worked tirelessly, coaxing the old systems to keep running smooth. "You know," she told Ben, the ship's doctor, who had come down to check on her, "this ship could run for another 20 years if those corporate types would just let me upgrade the core processors." Ben smiled, handing her a cup of coffee. "The company barely approves basic repairs. I doubt they'll spring for upgrades." Kate took a sip and pointed to a panel near the wall. "I've been studying some of those old systems. Did you know this ship was built using some tech we got from those artifacts found on Mars? There's code in here I don't even understand, and I've been an engineer for 15 years. Ben raised an eyebrow. "Ancient alien tech. Sounds like one of those conspiracy vids." "Laugh all you want," Kate said, "but something about this ship's core design is." The alarm cut her off, its high-pitched wail echoing through every room of the ship. Red lights flashed along the walls as Kate and Ben rushed toward the bridge. By the time they arrived, everyone was at their stations. On the main screen, a massive ship had appeared, its sleek silver hull gleaming against the blackness of space. "Dravian warship," Tom said, his voice tight. "Heavy class. They're scanning us." "Open communications," Jack ordered. "Let them know what we're carrying." Lisa pressed several buttons on her panel. "Channel open, Captain." "Attention Dravian vessel," Jack said clearly. "This is Captain Jack of the human freighter Persistence. We are carrying medical supplies to Colony Delta. We mean no harm and request permission to continue our journey." The screen remained dark for several long seconds. Then it flickered, showing the face of a Dravian commander. The alien's gray skin looked almost metallic under the lights of his ship. His 4 eyes, 2 large ones where human eyes would be, and 2 smaller ones above, stared coldly at Jack. "Human vessel," the Dravian said, his thin lips barely moving. "You have entered a sector under Dravian protection. Your presence is unwelcome." Jack leaned forward. "We're just passing through on our way to a human colony. Our charts show this is neutral space." The Dravian made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Your charts, like your technology, are primitive and flawed. This sector falls under new Dravian claim as of 30 rotations ago." Mike muttered something under his breath. Jack shot him a warning look before turning back to the screen. "We apologize for the misunderstanding," Jack said carefully. "We'll adjust our course immediately." The Dravian commander's 4 eyes blinked in unison. That will not be necessary. Your vessel requires inspection. Before Jack could respond, the ship shuddered violently. The lights flickered and died, leaving only the emergency red glow. Screens went dark across the bridge as a wave of energy washed over the Persistence. What just happened? Jack demanded, struggling to see in the dim light. Kate's fingers flew over her dead engineering panel, trying to get some response. Some kind of electromagnetic pulse. It's fry our systems. We're dead in space. The main screen flickered back to life. The only system still working, showing the Dravian commander once more. Your vessel is obsolete. Your species is unworthy of the stars. We leave you adrift as a lesson. The alien's voice was flat, emotionless. Perhaps in time, humans will learn their place. The screen went dark as the Dravian ship turned away, its engines flaring blue as it accelerated into the distance. Status report. Jack called out. What's still working? Not much, Kate said grimly. Main power is gone. Life support is on emergency backup. We have maybe 3 days of air. Engines are completely dead. Communications? Jack asked, turning to Lisa. She shook her head. Long-range comms are fried. We couldn't call for help even if there was anyone to hear us. What about the distress beacon? Mike asked. Also dead, Kate replied. Whatever they hit us with, it was designed to take out everything. The crew fell silent, the reality of their situation sinking in. They were floating in space with no power, no way to call for help, and a limited air supply. So that's it, Tom finally asked. We just sit here and wait to die. Jack stood up, his face set with determination. No, we find a way to fix this. Kate, you and I will check the engine room. There must be something we can salvage. Tom, Mike, check our supplies. Ben, see what medical resources we have if things get rough. Lisa, keep trying the comms. Maybe something will come back online. The crew moved with new purpose, but the fear remained in their eyes. In the engine room, Kate knelt beside the main control panel, her flashlight held between her teeth as she worked. She pulled off the cover, revealing a complex web of circuits and wires. This is strange, she said, pointing to a section deep within the panel. The pulse fried most systems, but look at this part here. It's changing. Jack leaned closer. In the beam of the flashlight, he could see tiny lights beginning to flicker where there had been darkness moments before. Strange symbols appeared on a small screen that Kate had never noticed before. What is that? Jack asked. Kate's eyes widened. I think the Dravian pulse didn't just shut down our systems. It somehow reset something much deeper. Jack, remember what I was telling Ben about the ancient tech this ship was built on? I think we're seeing it wake up. She pointed to the symbols scrolling across the hidden screen. These aren't in any human language I know. This could be the original operating system of the ship, the one built on technology we barely understand. Jack looked from the strange symbols to Kate's excited face. Are you saying there's a chance? Kate nodded, a spark of hope in her eyes. More than a chance, Captain. I think the Dravians just did what the company never would. They gave us access to the real power of this ship. For the first time since the attack, Jack smiled. Then let's make the most of it. Get the others down here. If there's a way to bring this ship back to life, we're going to find it. Outside, the stars continued their cold, distant watch as the disabled ship drifted silently through space. But inside, something ancient and powerful had begun to stir. Everyone, gather around, Kate called out, her voice echoing through the dim engine room. The emergency lights cast long shadows across the walls as the crew of the Persistence huddled around the open control panel. What are we looking at? Mike asked, squinting at the strange symbols flickering on the small screen. Kate pointed to the dancing lights. I think this is the ship's true operating system, the one that was hidden beneath all our normal controls. Hidden? By who? Lisa asked. Ben stepped closer, his eyes widening as he studied the symbols. "These look familiar," he said slowly. "They're similar to markings found on those artifacts from the Mars dig site." Tom raised an eyebrow. "The ones they said were left by some space-traveling civilization before humans even had fire." Ben nodded. "The precursors, they called them. No one really knows who they were. They left technology scattered across our solar system, but most of it was too advanced for us to understand." He pointed to a particular symbol that kept repeating. "This one was on tablets found in the deepest chamber. It means potential, or maybe evolution. The translations were never certain." "So our ship has alien tech in it?" Mike asked, looking around as if seeing the persistence for the first time. Kate nodded. "The first faster-than-light engines were reverse-engineered from precursor tech. Everyone knows that. But I think the corporations that built ships like ours only implemented the bare minimum, just enough to make the ships work without really understanding the full system." "And the Dravian pulse somehow unlocked it?" Jack asked. "Exactly," Kate said. "It's like they used a key that opened a door we didn't even know was there." The screen suddenly changed, showing what looked like a ship schematic, but not of the persistence they knew. This design was sleeker, with systems and connections they didn't recognize. "Is that our ship?" Lisa asked. "I think it's what our ship could be," Kate replied, her voice hushed with wonder. "The precursor tech wasn't just about faster-than-light travel. If I'm right, their technology was designed to evolve and adapt based on the needs of its users." "So what can we do with it?" Jack asked, always focused on the practical. Kate ran her fingers along the edge of the panel. "First, we need to understand how to communicate with it. Ben, you've studied these symbols more than anyone else here. Think you can help me work out a basic translation?" Ben nodded, already pulling out his tablet where he kept notes on ancient languages. "I'll do my best." "The rest of you, check the ship," Jack ordered. "See if any other systems are showing similar changes. And keep track of our oxygen levels. No matter what ancient tech we found, we still need to breathe." The crew split up, each taking this section of the ship. Tom returned to the bridge, while Mike checked the cargo hold. Lisa stayed to help Ben and Kate with their impromptu translation efforts. Hours passed as they worked. The emergency oxygen scrubbers hummed in the background, a constant reminder of their limited time. On the bridge, Tom stared at his navigation console in disbelief. "Captain," he called over the ship's intercom. "You need to see this." When Jack arrived, Tom pointed to his screen, which had come to life with new displays. "I was just sitting here, thinking about how we could plot a course home if we got the engines working again." And the screen just turned on. The display showed not just their current position, but layers of space Tom had never seen before, currents and eddies in what should have been empty vacuum. "It's like it's showing us pathways through space," Tom said, his voice filled with awe. "Routes that would let us travel faster than our engines should allow." Jack stared at the display, then at Tom. "It responded to your thoughts?" Tom nodded slowly. "I think it did. It's like the ship is listening to us." Similar reports came in from around the vessel. Mike found cargo bay doors that had been simple metal now showing intricate patterns that glowed faintly in the darkness. Lisa discovered her communications panel displaying signal types she'd never seen before. Back in the engine room, Kate and Ben made a breakthrough. "It's asking us something," Ben said, pointing to new symbols that had appeared on the screen. "I think it's saying, define purpose." Kate looked at Jack. "I think the ship wants to know what we want it to do." Jack considered this for a moment. "Tell it our purpose is survival. Tell it we need to get home safely." Ben carefully touched symbols on the screen, trying to communicate their intent. The response was immediate. The small screen expanded, projecting a holographic display into the center of the engine room. It showed the persistence surrounded by flowing energy patterns. "Is that power?" Lisa asked, pointing to the energy flows. Kate nodded, her eyes wide with excitement. "It's showing us how to reroute the ship's energy systems. This configuration is completely different from anything in our manuals, But she studied the display carefully. If we connect these circuits here and here, we might be able to restore basic power. Do it, Jack ordered. Kate hesitated. Captain, this goes against everything I was taught about ship engineering. If I'm wrong, we're already dead if we do nothing, Jack reminded her. I trust your judgment, Kate. With Jack's approval, Kate began reworking the ship's systems according to the holographic guide. She disconnected standard pathways and created new ones, following patterns that seemed to defy conventional engineering logic. This makes no sense, she muttered as she worked. It's like we've been using the ship's systems all wrong for years, like trying to run a computer by connecting all the wrong wires. After an hour of careful work, Kate stepped back, wiping sweat from her forehead. That should do it. If I'm right, we'll have power restored to critical systems. If I'm wrong, we'll have to try something else, Jack said firmly. Go ahead. Kate took a deep breath and pressed a sequence of symbols on the screen. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a low hum, lights flickered on throughout the ship. The main engines remained off, but life support systems came online, filling the ship with fresh air. You did it, Lisa exclaimed. Kate shook her head in wonder. No, the ship did it. All I did was follow its instructions. It's like it knew exactly what to do, but needed our help to make it happen. So what now? Mike asked. We have lights and air, but we're still stuck in the middle of nowhere with no engines. Jack looked at the holographic display, which was now showing new patterns. Now we keep going. Kate, what's it showing us next? Kate studied the display, her expression growing more excited. I think it's showing us how to access the real engine system, not just the limited version we've been using. But this will take more work. We need to physically reconfigure parts of the engine core. How long? Jack asked. With all of us working together, maybe 12 hours. Jack nodded. Then we better get started. Tom, set up a watch rotation. I want someone monitoring space for any sign of the Dravians coming back. The rest of you, help Kate with whatever she needs. As the crew moved with new purpose, Ben hung back to speak privately with Jack. You realize what we found, right? He said quietly. This isn't just some hidden feature of our ship. If I'm right about these symbols and what they represent, we've tapped into technology that's thousands of years beyond human understanding. Jack looked around at the ship, seeing it with new eyes. And you think we can control it? Ben shrugged. The fact that it's responding to us at all suggests it was designed to be used by species less advanced than its creators. The question is, how much of its potential can we actually unlock? I guess we'll find out, Jack said, clapping Ben on the shoulder. Outside, the stars continued their silent watch as the Persistence hummed with new energy. Inside, the humans worked tirelessly, their hands guided by ancient wisdom, as they took their first steps toward claiming power they never knew existed. What none of them realized yet was that the ship wasn't just coming back to life, it was waking up. And it had chosen them. Sweat dripped from Kate's forehead as she carefully connected wires deep within the engine core. The work was delicate and dangerous. One wrong move could fry the systems they had managed to restore. Hand me that tool, she said to Mike, who was helping her. Mike passed her a device that looked like a standard welding tool, but Kate had modified it according to the ship's instructions. It now emitted a soft blue light instead of the usual orange flame. This doesn't make any sense, Mike said, watching as Kate touched the tool to a junction point. Instead of melting the metal, the blue light seemed to merge it with surrounding materials. That's not how metal works. Kate smiled without looking up. According to what we know about physics, no. But the precursors obviously knew things we don't. 12 hours had stretched into 18 as the crew worked nonstop to implement the changes the ship was showing them. Each small success led to new revelations about what their vessel could become. On the bridge, Tom and Lisa stared in wonder at the navigation systems, which now displayed information about space that no human instrument had ever detected before. Look at this, Tom said, pointing to swirling patterns on his screen. The ship is showing us what it calls space currents, flows of energy that run through what we thought was empty space. If we can ride these currents, we could move faster than any human ship before us. Lisa nodded, equally amazed by what was happening with her communications array. I'm picking up signals I've never seen before. Some are from stars themselves. It's like the ship can hear the universe talking. In the medical bay, Ben had discovered that the ship's healing systems were evolving too. What had been a basic first aid station was transforming into something far more advanced. The medical scanner is showing me things about our bodies I didn't even learn in medical school, he told Jack when the captain came to check on him. It's like having X-ray vision, but 100 times more detailed. Jack tried to hide his concern behind a steady expression. Is any of this dangerous to us? Could the ship hurt us while it's changing? Ben considered the question. I don't think so. From everything I can tell, the ship is adapting to help us, not harm us. It's like it was designed to evolve based on the needs of its crew. Back in the engine room, Kate finally connected the last circuit the ship had shown her. She stood back, wiping grime from her hands. That should do it, she said. Now we just need to activate the new drive system. The crew gathered on the bridge as Kate prepared to bring the engines online. The ship looked the same from the outside, but inside, almost everything had changed. Walls that had been plain metal now showed intricate patterns that glowed softly. The air felt fresher, and even the ship's artificial gravity seemed more natural, less mechanical. Everyone ready? Kate asked, her finger hovering over the newly formed control panel. Jack looked around at his crew. Tired but hopeful faces nodded back at him. Do it, he ordered. Kate pressed the activation sequence. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, a deep hum vibrated through the ship, starting at the engines and flowing forward until every part of the Persistence seemed to sing with energy. The lights dimmed briefly, then came back brighter and clearer than before. On the main screen, they could see the hull of their ship changing. The old scratched metal was shifting, becoming smoother and darker, with a subtle shimmer that hadn't been there before. The hull is healing itself, Lisa whispered in awe. Inside, more changes were happening. The temperature, which had always been slightly too cold or too hot in different parts of the ship, now adjusted perfectly to their comfort. The air tasted sweeter, more alive. Kate, what's happening to our ship? Jack asked, both amazed and slightly unnerved by the transformation. Kate stared at her readings. It's evolving, Captain. The precursor technology isn't just activating, it's adapting to us, learning what we need and changing to provide it. Is it alive? Tom asked, watching as a crack in one wall sealed itself before his eyes. Not alive like we are, Ben answered, but not simply a machine either. It's something in between. Suddenly, all the screens on the bridge lit up at once. A message appeared, written in both the precursor symbols and, surprisingly, in English. ENITI, LIZAT, incomplete. Parine systems online, awaiting TV. The crew looked at each other in shock. It's talking to us, Mike said. Jack stepped forward. Ship, he said, feeling slightly foolish for speaking to the air. Can you hear us? The message changed. HFY TV. Neural interface. Estabilized. Crew recognized. Captain Jack. Engineer Kate. Navigator Tom. Security Officer Mike. Communications Specialist Lisa. Dr. B.N. It knows our names, Lisa said, her voice hushed. It knows who we are. Jack took a deep breath. Ship, what are your capabilities now? The screen filled with information. Too much to take in at once. Propulsion systems beyond anything humans had developed. Defensive capabilities that could withstand forces strong enough to shatter planets. Sensors that could detect a single life form from light years away. "This is incredible," Tom said, scrolling through the navigation options. "According to this, we could reach Earth in hours, not weeks." Kate's eyes widened as she reviewed the engineering data. "The power systems are drawing energy directly from the fabric of space itself. We'll never need to refuel." Mike studied the defensive capabilities with growing excitement. These shields could withstand a direct hit from a Dravian warship's main weapon. "We're practically invulnerable now." Jack held up his hand, calling for calm. "Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We need to test these systems carefully before we trust them completely." Testing HFY available. Recommend GRADUATED sequence. Jack nodded. "Ship, begin with basic propulsion test. Low power." The hum of the engines changed pitch, and on the external cameras, they could see a gentle blue glow forming around the hull. "Moving at 1/4 light speed," Tom reported, his voice filled with disbelief. No acceleration felt inside. "The inertial dampeners are perfect." Jack couldn't help but smile. "Increase to half power." The blue glow intensified, and stars on the view screen began to blur. "We're now at 3/4 light speed," Tom said. Still no stress on the hull or internal systems. Before Jack could give another command, the ship's sensors flashed an alert. A vessel was approaching, a large one. "Dravian warship detected," the ship announced. Matching profile of vessel that initiated shutdown. The mood on the bridge changed instantly. The same Dravians who had left them to die were returning, probably to check if they were dead yet. "What are your orders, Captain?" Mike asked, his hand hovering over the newly formed weapons controls. Jack stared at the approaching Dravian ship on the screen. The aliens had meant for them to die slowly in the darkness of space. Now, the humans were armed with technology beyond even Dravian understanding. "Ship," Jack said quietly. "What would happen if the Dravians try to use their shutdown pulse on us again?" "Previous VULMN ERABILITY corrected. Shoot down PULSE would be NEFFAKTE. Addition ALI. CONTRMEAS UR is now available." Jack nodded, a plan forming in his mind. "Good. Let's give our friends a proper greeting, shall we?" The crew exchanged glances, a mixture of fear and excitement on their faces as the Dravian warship grew larger on their screen. The persistence had changed, and now it was time to show the Dravians exactly what they had created when they tried to shut them down. The Dravian warship grew larger on the main screen of the Persistence. Its sleek, silver hull gleamed against the blackness of space, bristling with weapons designed to destroy vessels many times larger than the human freighter. "They're scanning us," Lisa reported from her communication station. "Their scan patterns are much more intense than before." Tom nodded. "They're probably confused. We don't look like the same ship they left for dead." Indeed, the Persistence had changed dramatically. Its once dull gray hull now had a deep blue-black color that seemed to shift and flow like water. The shape remained roughly the same, but smoother, as if the ship had melted and reformed into a more perfect version of itself. "Should we run?" Mike asked, fingers hovering over the weapon controls. "With our new engines, we could be halfway to Earth before they even turn around." Jack considered this for a moment. "No," he said finally. "If we run, they'll just find another human ship to pick on. It's time someone showed the Dravians that humans aren't as helpless as they think." The captain straightened his uniform, which was still the same even if his ship was not, and nodded to Lisa. "Open a channel to the Dravian vessel." Lisa touched a series of glowing symbols on her console. "Channel open, Captain." "Dravian vessel," Jack said, his voice steady and confident. "This is Captain Jack of the Persistence, the ship you attempted to destroy. We would like to speak with your commander." There was a long pause before the main screen flickered, showing the same four-eyed Dravian commander who had left them to die. The alien's expression showed confusion, quickly masked by disdain. "Human vessel," the Dravian said, his voice cold and metallic. "You have made modifications to your ship. Explain how you survived our shutdown procedure." Jack smiled. "We adapted. That's what humans do. You thought you were teaching us a lesson about our place in the universe. Instead, you taught us something about ourselves." The Dravian's 4 eyes narrowed. "Your primitive technology could not have countered our pulse weapon. You must have received outside assistance. Identify who helped you." "No one helped us," Jack replied. "In fact, you did us a favor. Your attack unlocked potential in our ship that we never knew existed." The Dravian commander made a harsh sound that might have been laughter. "You expect me to believe that human ingenuity alone could produce technology that our sensors cannot even classify? Your species has barely mastered space travel." "Believe what you want," Jack said with a shrug. "But know this, we are not the easy target you thought we were." The commander's upper eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of agitation. Ven had once explained to the crew, "You will power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. We will discover how you have acquired this technology." Jack looked around at his crew. Each face showed determination, not fear. They had come too far to surrender now. "I'm afraid we must decline your invitation," Jack said calmly. "We have cargo to deliver." The Dravian's face darkened with anger. "You do not have a choice, human. Power down or be destroyed." Jack ended the transmission with a gesture. "They're charging weapons," Mike reported, studying his display. "Ship," Jack said to the air. "What are our options?" The main screen changed, showing a detailed analysis of the Dravian vessel. Points of weakness were highlighted in red, while weapon systems were outlined in yellow. "Multiple options available," the ship responded in text across the bottom of the screen. "Defensive, offensive, or EVAs, IVs, or ATGIs ready." "We don't want to kill anyone," Jack said firmly. "But we need to show them we're not to be trifled with. Can we disable their weapons without destroying their ship?" "AFI or Meta E. Target elite to romagnetic burst available. Similar to ATACK USD and this vessel, but precisely calibrated." Jack nodded. "Perfect. Let's give them a taste of their own medicine." "Captain," Kate warned from her engineering station, "we haven't fully tested our new systems yet. There could be unexpected results." "Noted," Jack said. "But I don't think the Dravians are going to give us time for proper testing procedures." As if to confirm his words, the Dravian ship fired a warning shot, a beam of energy that passed just over the Persistence's hull. "Their weapons are fully charged," Mike reported. "Next shot won't be a warning." Jack took a deep breath. "Ship, proceed with the electromagnetic burst. Target their weapon systems only." Executing. The Persistence hummed with power. On the exterior cameras, they could see energy building around their hull, focusing into a wave that shot toward the Dravian vessel. Unlike normal weapons, there was no beam or projectile, just a ripple in space that washed over the alien ship. The effect was immediate. The Dravian warship's lights flickered, and its weapons ports, which had been glowing with charged energy, went dark. "Direct hit," Mike reported with satisfaction. "Their weapons are offline." Lissa looked up from her console in surprise. "They're hailing us, Captain." Jack nodded. "Put them through." The Dravian commander appeared on screen again, but his composed demeanor had vanished. Behind him, crew members rushed about, trying to restore their systems. "What did you do to our ship?" the commander demanded, all 4 eyes wide with shock. "The same thing you did to ours," Jack replied evenly. "The difference is, we're not going to leave you helpless in space. Your life support and engines are still functional. You can make it back to your territory." The Dravian stared at him in disbelief. "How is this possible? Human technology can't." "Perhaps you should reconsider what humans are capable of," Jack interrupted. "We may be new to the stars compared to your people, but we learn quickly." He leaned forward. Remember that the next time you encounter a human vessel. Before the commander could respond, Jack nodded to Lisa to end the transmission. They're not pursuing, Tom reported, watching the sensors. Their engines are starting to power up, but they're turning around. A cheer went up from the crew. They had faced the same aliens who had nearly killed them and emerged victorious. Jack held up his hands for quiet. Don't celebrate too soon. We've made an impression on one Dravian ship, but they'll report back to their fleet. We need to be prepared for what comes next. What about our mission? Lisa asked. Do we still deliver the medical supplies to Colony Delta? Jack nodded. Absolutely. That's our job. But I think we can get there a bit faster than scheduled. He turned to Tom. Set a course for the colony. Let's see what this ship can really do. Tom grinned as he entered the coordinates. Course set, Captain. At our new top speed, we can be there in less than an hour instead of 3 days. Proceed, Jack ordered. The Persistence turned gracefully in space, its new engines glowing with blue-white energy. As they accelerated, the stars on the view screen stretched into lines of light. Inside the ship, the crew felt no acceleration, no strain. The ride was smoother than anything they had experienced before. It was as if they were standing still while the universe moved around them. It's beautiful, Lisa whispered, watching the star trails on the screen. Jack nodded in agreement. What had begun as a disaster had transformed into something none of them could have imagined. Their simple cargo ship had become something new, something powerful. And deep within the ship's systems, the ancient precursor technology continued to adapt and evolve, responding to the crew's needs and desires. The Persistence was no longer just a vessel that carried them through space. It had become something more, a partner in their journey among the stars. Colony Delta came into view on the main screen, a small settlement on a rocky planet with 2 moons. Normally, the site would have been a welcome relief after a long journey. Today, the Persistence had arrived 3 days ahead of schedule, thanks to its remarkable new capabilities. We're being hailed, Lisa reported from her communication station. They sound confused. They weren't expecting us yet. Jack smiled. Put them through. The screen changed to show the weathered face of Colony Delta's administrator, a woman named Helen who had been running the outpost for over a decade. Persistence, she asked in disbelief. Is that really you? Our sensors show you arriving, but you weren't due for 3 more days. It's us, Jack confirmed. We had some upgrades during our journey. The medical supplies are ready for delivery. Helen stared at them. Your ship looks different. What happened out there? Jack exchanged glances with his crew. They had agreed to be careful about revealing too much about their transformation. The power of the precursor technology could be dangerous in the wrong hands. Let's just say we had a run-in with some unfriendly visitors that turned out better than expected, Jack said. We'll tell you more when we land. After arranging landing coordinates, Jack ended the transmission and turned to his crew. Before we go down there, we need to decide how much we're going to tell them about what's happened to the ship. The company will want to take the Persistence apart if they find out what it can do now, Kate said, her voice tinged with worry. They'll try to replicate the technology without understanding it. Mike nodded in agreement, and the military would turn it into a weapon faster than you can say court-martial. Then what do we do? Lisa asked. We can't exactly hide a ship that can travel at speeds no human vessel has ever reached before. Ben, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. The precursors didn't share this technology randomly. The ship responded to us, to our specific crew, in a time of need. I don't think it's meant to be mass-produced. Jack considered this. The ship chose us, but we still have our duty to the company, to the colonies we serve. He looked around at the faces of his crew. What do you all want to do? Tom was the first to respond. I signed up to explore space, Captain. With this ship, we could see things no human has ever seen before. I want to learn, Kate said simply. There's so much this technology could teach us, not just about engineering, but about how the universe works. Mike shrugged. Wherever this ship goes, it's going to need protection. I'm in. Lisa smiled. Someone needs to tell the story. I'd like it to be us. Ben nodded his agreement. The medical applications alone could save countless lives. I can't walk away from that potential. Jack felt a weight lift from his shoulders. Then we're agreed. We'll deliver these supplies as promised. But after that, he looked around at the bridge of the transformed ship. We chart our own course. The landing at Colony Delta went smoothly, more smoothly than any landing the Persistence had ever made before. The ship seemed to anticipate wind patterns and adjust automatically, settling onto the landing pad with barely a whisper. As promised, they delivered the medical supplies. Jack met with Helen and told her a carefully edited version of their encounter with the Dravians. He mentioned the attack and the crew's resourcefulness in repairing their ship, but left out the details about the precursor technology and the ship's true capabilities. The company will want a full report, Helen said as they walked back to the ship. They don't like surprises. Jack nodded. They'll get one. But first, we have another delivery to make on the outer colonies. Given our new efficiency, we should complete it ahead of schedule. It wasn't exactly a lie. Jack did plan to file a report. Eventually. And they would help other colonies whenever possible. But the Persistence and its crew were now destined for something greater. That night, with the colony's lights twinkling below them, the crew gathered on the bridge to plan their next move. I've been communicating with the ship, Kate said. It's been showing me star maps of regions no human has ever visited. There are signs of precursor artifacts scattered across the galaxy, places where we might learn more about the technology we're carrying. Any sign of the precursors themselves? Ben asked. Kate shook her head. Nothing definitive. But there are strange energy signatures that the ship can detect now, like echoes from an ancient civilization. So what's our first destination? Jack asked. Tom projected a star map onto the main screen. There's a system about 500 light-years from here. According to the ship's data, it contains a structure similar to the Mars artifacts, but much larger. It would take a conventional human ship years to reach it. And with our new engines? Jack asked. 3 days, Tom replied with a grin. Jack looked around at his crew. 6 months ago, they had been ordinary space workers, carrying cargo from one colony to the next, dreaming of something more. Now they stood at the threshold of a new age of exploration. Set a course, he ordered. Let's see what's out there. As the Persistence lifted off from Colony Delta, its hull shimmered in the light of the twin moons. To anyone watching from below, it might have looked like any other ship leaving orbit. But as soon as it cleared the atmosphere, it accelerated at a speed no human vessel had ever achieved, quickly becoming a streak of light that vanished among the stars. Over the months that followed, stories began to spread among the colonies about a mysterious ship that appeared when help was needed most. It rescued stranded vessels, delivered critical supplies during emergencies, and even drove off pirates who preyed on civilian transports. Some claimed it was a secret military project. Others said it was built by aliens who had allied with humans. A few even suggested it was a ghost ship, crewed by spirits of those who had died in space. Only 6 people knew the truth. 6 ordinary humans who had been faced with death and instead found power beyond imagination. 6 explorers who now traveled to the farthest reaches of the galaxy, mapping new worlds, discovering ancient secrets, and occasionally reminding advanced alien civilizations that humans were not to be underestimated. And deep within the living systems of the Persistence, the precursor technology continued to evolve, guided by the creativity and determination of its human crew. The ship that had once been shut down had indeed been upgraded to something approaching godlike power, not through conquest or theft, but through humanity's greatest strengths: adaptability, ingenuity, and the unwavering will to survive against impossible odds. As Captain Jack often said when meeting new civilizations, never judge a species by their technology. Judge them by what they do when everything is taken away. It was a lesson the Dravians had learned the hard way. a lesson that would echo across the stars for generations to come.